With contract status updates and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Revealing an interesting rule that Vince McMahon has for passengers on his private plane, former WWE personality Jonathan Coachman told Cafe de Rene, "When I flew on Vince's plane, there were rules, and the biggest rule was, unless he slept, you're not allowed to sleep because he wanted that energy in the plane." Giving her perspective on Raw moving from 3 hours to 2 for the remainder of the year, former WWE and current AEW star Mercedes MONE wrote this in her Money Mag newsletter. Now let's talk Raw. Word is that it's dropping from 3 hours to 2, and honestly, I've got mixed feelings about it. I've always loved having that extra hour, because it gives more performers a chance to shine. Losing that time could mean fewer opportunities for the roster. It's hard enough for talent, especially women, to get TV time. The silver lining could be Netflix. With Netflix, I'm assuming and hoping there will be many new ways to showcase talent. In the end, I'm about more opportunities for talent, which leads to more entertainment for fans and more money for the business. It's the best way for all to win, especially the roster and fans. In that same newsletter, Mercedes MONE heaped praise on AEW and credited herself for growth in professional wrestling, writing, "Money changes everything, and ever since Mercedes MONE hit the scene, the business has been on fire. Have fun with that, my money haters. Seriously, the future of wrestling looks bright, and it's just exciting to see where wrestling is going to be in the next 5 years. AEW has come so far, and these rumors flying around about their next big moves, I'm here for it. I'm excited to see where we end up, but we've got to stay patient. This company is just 5 years old. I defy anyone to compare our progress at this mark to any other company, past or present. With our talent roster and this move, I also think more opportunities will come, as Warner Brothers and Discovery are big ponds to play in. AEW already has a ton of programming and content to offer, but there is a lot of potential and room for more. Your CEO is here to help with all of it." Speaking about JBL potentially appearing in AEW, as he has been for promotions outside of WWE recently, AEW commentator Jim Ross noted on his Grilling JR podcast, "No, not at all. I think it's a good idea. It adds to the presentation. It gives you a memorable moment in the ring in front of all the fans. Memorable moments are what we look for. You're not going to remember every head and wrist lock during the show. They're important to the process, no doubt. However, this adds a new element. As we've said on the show many times, I think surprises are very special and our fans love surprises. John showing up and doing his thing would be a surprise, and a fitting surprise. I'm not saying he should be full-time, because I don't know if he wants to be full-time, but I do think on a special occasion, him making an appearance would be talked about." Talking about the possibility of the Motor City Machine Guns coming to WWE and having a match against them, Tommaso Ciampa told the Battleground podcast, "That's the natural go-to. Whether it's our styles or our size, everyone seems to pair us and those guys together. They've influenced tag team wrestling for 2 decades now. We've taken stuff from them, concepts and ideas. I've never wrestled either one of them in singles or tag my entire career. It would be really cool to have that happen on a WWE stage for the first time. I know Johnny Gargano has a pretty good relationship with Alex Shelley and has known him forever. I love those guys. He loves those guys. We see the same rumors that y'all see. If we can get the tag division to a point where we have 4, 5, 6 different top acts at once, that's when you're in it. The more competition, the merrier. I welcome that. It elevates your game and forces you to elevate. I think the crowd will take to them extremely fast and well. I hope it happens. I probably want it to happen more than some of the fans. Going over the AEW status of Ricky Starks, Ringside News noted that Ricky Starks has been one of AEW's brightest stars since his debut in 2020, but fans have been scratching their heads since his sudden disappearance from TV in late March. Even though he's been off AEW programming for months, it's now been confirmed that Starks won't be released from his AEW contract anytime soon, despite speculation swirling about a possible WWE move. Starks last appeared on the March 30th episode of AEW Collision, where he teamed up with Big Bill in a tag team title tournament match against Top Flight. Unfortunately, Starks seemed to suffer an injury during the match, and he hasn't been seen on TV since. The exact reason for his absence remains unclear, but what's uncertain is that the rumor mill hasn't stopped churning. A fan recently tweeted about Friday Night SmackDown's upcoming 3-hour expansion in 2025, suggesting WWE would need extra time for stars like the Lucha brothers, Daniel Garcia and Ricky Starks. This led to a swift response from Ibu of Wrestle Purist, who shut down any talk of Starks heading to WWE anytime soon. Ricky Starks is under AEW contract and will not be granted a release. I do not know why he keeps coming up in these conversations, Ibu tweeted, putting those rumors to rest for now. It appears as though there is a huge change coming to SmackDown after moving to the USA Network, with it said on WrestleVotes Radio. Before we move off of SmackDown, our first real WrestleVotes tidbit here as we get going on this backstage pass regarding SmackDown is that we have learned that starting on the January 3rd show 2025, SmackDown will indeed shift to 3 hours. The other big news here is there are rumors that once the show ends, it will be available on Netflix, which we haven't heard elsewhere. Those are the internal talkings right now, is that probably the day after SmackDown will be available on Netflix. But the real nugget here is that starting January 3rd, that show will be 3 hours. Responding to concerns that the Wrestlers Court from years ago in WWE was a form of bullying, Mark Henry noted on Huge Pop, "It's not bullying, it's meant to entertain. I think the people that were in Wrestlers Court and took it so seriously that they felt bullied, all they had to do was go and buy a bottle of Jack Daniels. The #1 rule was that the judge could always be bought. All you had to do was drop about $23, $25, go buy a bottle of Jack Daniels, and then sit it on the counter." Providing details on the press conference for Janelle Grant, Ringside News wrote that Janelle Grant, a former WWE employee who accused Vince McMahon of sexual abuse in a Connecticut lawsuit, is stepping into the spotlight. She's holding a press conference in New York just days before the highly anticipated Netflix documentary, Mr. McMahon, drops. Below are key moments from her powerful address. The briefing has just begun. Ms. Grant's attorney, Ann Callis, opened the event with remarks setting the stage for what's expected to be a significant moment in the lead up to Netflix's upcoming Mr. McMahon documentary, and Callis expressed hope that the Netflix documentary will accurately portray Grant's story, though she was not personally involved in its production. Callis mentioned receiving an influx of calls from other alleged victims. However, she clarified that they have not been in contact with any current victims. Janelle Grant's team has not watched the Netflix documentary on Vince McMahon, according to her lawyer. Janelle has the right to tell her story, Callis stated. Janelle Grant's attorney declined to comment on whether her client was invited to participate in the McMahon documentary. She emphasized that Grant has the right to share her story in her own time. Callis stated that Janelle deserves the right to tell her own story. When questioned about whether Netflix had approached her for the documentary, she also mentioned that Grant received some initial brief outreach from WWE after the lawsuit was filed, but nothing further since then. Paul Schott inquired about the SDNY investigation. litigation. Callis responded that their litigation remains stayed with no updates on the SDNY investigation. She emphasized that if any charges arise, they want them to proceed expeditiously. The stay is in effect until December. Lee Cole asked how Janelle would respond to those questioning why she returned to Vince McMahon. Callis explained that Janelle was coerced, human trafficked, and felt she had no choice, adding that WWE employees treated her with hostility. Chloe Mellis inquired about a potential forthcoming indictment related to the Sean Combs case. Callis responded that it's possible and they are hopeful. When asked about any frustrations with the criminal case, Callis emphasized that while they want the civil case to move forward, there is no frustration with SDNY. She stated they prefer the process to be thorough rather than rushed. Kendra Lammy concluded the press briefing by stating that Janelle is a victim and survivor of human trafficking, similar to the survivors in the Sean Combs case. During a live stream, AEW star Buddy Matthews talked about the body image issues that he and his wife and WWE star Rhea Ripley have.
But that's something that I deal with. I also don't like the way I look in the mirror on particular days, depending on the mirror too. It's just something we all go through. And I know the people here on this watching go through these things, whether they feel fat, small, skinny, you know what I mean? Like strong, not strong. There's so many ways you can feel on a day, but just because you're heroes or you see people on TV, or, you know, you might look at that, but you might look at Rhea or myself and go, hey, your physique is awesome. I want to look like you. If I looked half as good as you, you know, I'd be happy. We say that too, but we don't see it, right? So it's such a mind fuck.
Everyone's got it.
Everyone's got it.
Talking about the possibility of returning to WWE, Alberto Del Rio told Sportskeeda Wrestling, I don't know. Some years ago, the last time you and I talked, I said yes because everybody knows this. I was always in good terms with the man, Vince McMahon, but the man is not there anymore, so I don't know how it is today when it comes to the people running the company. I know they know what I'm doing or what I've been doing all these years, especially these past 16 months, and I'm hoping that after seeing the best version of Alberto Del Rio, because I'm in a fantastic place and moment right now. I hope after all that hard work they decide one day to make the call, because I would be lying if I don't tell you or tell the fans that that's my biggest dream, to go back there and have one last run and retire, finally hanging my boots after a match in the WWE against one of my favorite wrestlers, whoever it is, Punk, Cena, Rey Mysterio. Bringing up the future of WWE's NXT Level Up program that has been airing on Peacock since February of 2022. This was said on WrestleVotes Radio. While we're talking about NXT with the WWE Hulu contract coming up next week, the NXT secondary show Level Up will be discontinued. That's what we're hearing. They will no longer continue filming the Level Up show that airs on Peacock that features a lot of the younger NXT talent. And you know, it is what it is. It's just a lot of moving parts right now, but we will say goodbye to Level Up. I think it just comes down to the rights of that now that CW is in charge of having the NXT rights. I think that because they were formerly in the hands of Peacock and USA Network. How those agreements all are written is definitely playing into why those past episodes will no longer be available moving forward. When it comes to what is next for the Lucha Bros, who were featured in AEW for some time, Ringside News wrote that reports surfaced last month that Penta has been open about his talks with WWE since the summer. He made it clear he and his brother Phoenix would only make the move as a package deal, and WWE was more than happy to make it happen. There's been strong interest in both stars for quite some time, especially Phoenix. Corey Hayes of PWN confirmed the signing, tweeting multi-year deal straight to the main main roster. It's the next big step in the Lucha Bros' already impressive careers, and fans are buzzing about what this means for their future in WWE. It was then added that Mike Johnson of PW Insider weighed in on the situation, stating as of this writing they are still under AEW deals, so they couldn't have signed anywhere else. While there's anticipation that they will make the move to WWE once their AEW contracts expire, for now they are legally unable to sign with any other promotion. Going over the WWE status of Kevin Owens, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reported that Kevin Owens has been approached for a new contract. We're told that Owens has not signed a new deal as of yet, but communication has been made. His contract is expected to be up at the end of the year. Those that we spoke to in AEW said that the company has long had major interest in bringing Owens in, and if he's available, they're expected to make him an offer if he reaches free agency. Ibu of Wrestle Purist added KO is on the short list of ex-WWE guys that Tony Khan would still exhaust resources to acquire if he has the chance. For information on former WWE and current AEW star MIRO, Ringside News wrote that AEW is seeing its fair share of former WWE superstars make the jump to their roster, with some thriving and others struggling to find their footing. Unfortunately, MIRO, who was the Bulgarian Brute Rusev in WWE, appears to fall into the latter category. After a much-hyped debut and an initial run with the TNT Championship, MIRO's time in AEW has been less than ideal, as he's been largely sidelined and forgotten. Now it seems he's had enough and wants out of Tony Khan's company. According to a report from Fightful Select by Sean Ross Sapp, MIRO has officially requested his release from AEW. MIRO, formerly Rusev, has asked for his release from All Elite Wrestling, Sapp revealed in the report. Recently, TNA's HENDRY could be seen singing live in London.
Thank you, London.
On social media, Matt Cardona said this regarding a potential return to WWE.
I needed to get fired to become the best version of myself, to become the complete Matt Cardona. The year prior, AEW was starting up, and WWE offered, I don't want to say everybody, but pretty much everybody brand new contracts, and I didn't sign it. When I got fired, it was such a fucking relief because the decision was made for me. But outside, I control fucking everything. I love the indies. I love everything about it. There are days I have a great show, made a lot of money on merch, and I'm thinking, this is fucking awesome. I can do this forever. Then there are days where I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? When I'm at fucking GCW in LA and the locker room's a fucking alley, or if I'm in the middle of nowhere, USA, I do the show, I don't get a fucking tweet about it. Did this day exist in my life? It's not just like, I want to be back there. Like, everyone wants to be back there. But I know if I was back, I'd make a fucking difference.
Confirming his role as an ambassador for the 2026 Special Olympics, WWE star Chad Gable posted this clip.
I could not be more excited to...
And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.